got a Dodge Charger or a Magnum that won't shift out of park if you have the column shift, now normally you have to step on the brake and then you can shift it back to go into reverse or park, but the shifter won't move. This may be your solution. Now to shift the vehicle you have to have the key in, and if you're going to turn it to the right, normally to get this to move you have to step on the brake pedal. When you step on the brake pedal, this will come over and pull down. Now if that's your only problem, if you pop this out of here, you'll see a little pink lever inside. If your lever won't move to the right when you step on the brake, then if you just push that in, then it should move to the right and pull back. But that's not the main issue. The main issue is if it won't pull back, then there's a little spring down in here that's on a plastic clip, and that clip is broke off. So here's what you've got to do to fix it. Leave it in park, and then we need to take a couple things off. You take a small screwdriver and pop this little chrome piece off, and then you need to pop this little cover off down here, and down here you'll see 2 Phillips head screws. We need to take them out. Once you take those Phillips out, then this piece will come up, but you need to pop it up as well. And then this will come up and come out of there. Now here's that little pink lever that you were pushing in, but that's only if it won't slide to the right for the park neutral switch. If you look down in here, there's another pink lever. That's where the problem is. Well, we're going to take this all out so that you can see it. Now I've got it in park, my foot on the brake, but it won't come back. If that's the case, this little white thing has a little cable, and the end of that cable is attached to the other end of this pink lever. So if you'll stick your finger back here, you can move that pink lever, and then your shifter will come back. It'll most likely go into park. It should go into drive, but if it doesn't go into drive, remember, keep your foot on the brake because you're going to put it in gear, and you can take this lever and move it just a little bit, and you can feel it go into drive. That's because we need to make an adjustment to this cable. So I'm going to put it back, shut it off, and we're going to take it apart. This isn't really very hard to take apart. There's 4 number 10 bolts down here. If we take them out, be careful that you don't drop them, or you can do like I do, use a little magnet to hold it up and take that bolt out of there. And there's another one down here and another one down there. Now once you get those out, we have to release these 2 cables. Now on this white one, you have to take a small little screwdriver, and there's a little release right here. You have to push that forward. Now my hands are kind of big, so I actually grab a hold of this with needle nose and then push this forward. And the white thing will come up out of there. That's just a little keeper to keep it in place. Now you have to move this cable back, and it should unhook from that pink lever. And just set this to the side. Now on this side we need to remove this. If you take a little screwdriver and put it back here, it should pop out of there. and then this will come away. Now when you go to pull this out, it's going to get hung up on a little plastic clip over here. So just take a longer screwdriver and put it down there, and just pop that clip out of there. That'll keep it from being hung up. And then your shifter should come up and out of there. Oh, and I forgot, we got to release this. Now to get this cable out of here, there's a little keeper, a lot like this white one, but you just have to take something pointed and push it in that hole, and you can see the keeper over there will spread, and then you can pop this up and out of there. It's a little tight fit. There, once we get those two off, then the shifter will just come out of there. Now you got two electrical connectors over here. One little white one, and then there's a little black one. There's a little keeper keeping it in place. Pop your electrical connectors out, and our shifter's loose. Now you can see the pink lever that we're looking for down there. And over here, you can see the little U that this cable hooked into. So you had to lift that up and out of there, but we've got to replace this pink lever down here. We're going to take it over to the bench to do that. Now once you get the shifter out on the bench, the pink lever we got to replace is in there. Now if you go to your dealer, here's the part number. Now be sure and ask for the application specific by your VIN number, because there are a couple variances, but this is the one we need. What comes in that kit is a new plastic lever and two springs. Now what's broken on this is the little tab right there that the spring hooks onto. So they've come out with one that's more reinforced. So what we've got to do is replace the pink one with the white one. Now to do that, there's three tabs we've got to release here. Take a small screwdriver and release that tab right there. There's one over here. You can see it right there. And there's one on this side. It'll pop up. Now once you get the top loose, we need to get some more room to get down into that. So you push this back and you hold this lever in over here. And then you can move your shifter arm all the way back. That gives you plenty of room to get in and out of here. Now we just have to, if you notice there's a little catch right here, you need to move that forward, and then the lever, the pink lever, will come out of there. Now as we look at the white and the pink, you can see where this one is broken off. The spring was supposed to be in there, but they've reinforced it. So now we put our white one back in. Now you remember this little notch back here? This little arm needs to stick into that notch, and then it just goes right over the shaft. And then you got to raise it so it'll go into that little notch. It has to be able to move like this. Now that cable that came through here will end up hooking right through there, but we need to get our spring in there now. It's going to come with 2 new springs. Ours, we need the green. Your old spring ought to be in there, so we're just going to match that. Here's our old spring, so that's the closest to the new one. I'm going to hook my spring over that front lever.
It's small enough for me. Small ones.
Take a small pair of needle nose and hook it over that lever on the new one. So now it will work like it's supposed to. That was our problem, is the plastic broke so the spring couldn't hold tension. So now we're ready to go back together. Slide it all down in place. Make sure your 3 tabs on each side have locked in place. Hold this lever in and your shifter then should move. It's full travel. You have it up in park, put that in, it should go all the way. If it does that, then you're all set. We're ready to go and reinstall it back in the car. Now we need to plug our electric connectors back in. So that one goes right there. And this one goes right here. Once we got our electrical connectors in, we need to manipulate this back down in there. And then we've got the pins where our bolts go is what we've got to put it over the top of. Now you can see that we're trying to get it over these studs, but our little plastic keeper over here is holding us up, so we need to spread that apart because it gets caught up underneath there. There's a piece of the carpet right in there, and that will get bound up, so you might have to move that around until all 4 of your studs come back out so that you can put your nuts on them. Now this one here, we have to get over that arm. It's kind of hard to see with the camera, but this little cable needs to go over the pin. Once you get that cable in, then pull this forward. Set the whole shifter assembly back down. And this should go in place. That snaps in place and your cable's tight. Now my carpet got in the way again. You have to kind of wiggle it around until you get all your studs through the hole. Make sure your cable's on. And then we need to snap this back in place. That will move up in there and attach in the notch for it. And then this should slide right on the pin. Now, before I put my screws back on, I'm going to check it and make sure it works. So I put my key on, turn the key, step on the brake, and my shifter goes all the way back now. So it should start and park. Remember, keep your foot on the brake. Goes to reverse, and we move. Go to drive, and we move. So we're all set. Last thing we need to do is put our 4 bolts back on. Now we're ready to put this back on. The cup part goes over here. And we have 2 screws.
In your left cup tray.
This thing here just goes up on top to cover up those screws. Where's the tray? There it is. And then you have your little cup tray slides in there. And we have our chrome piece. You're going to have a space, and then you'll have 3 even ones. The 3 evenly spaced go to the right. Double check everything. We're all set.